coffee time. Gonna try with no salt today, just to remember what it was like. 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Thursday. It's January 7th, 2021. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. I don't know what to say. I had trouble sleeping thinking about this morning. Because I've always said that what we do here at Whistlekick would not be political. We all experience so much news and just media in general that talks about politics. But on the other hand, I don't see anybody talking about how we can fix things. And there are people who watch this show who respect my opinion. I am not going to pretend for a moment I have all of the answers. I'm not going to pretend that I am anybody other than someone with an idea. But I do have a track record. And so this is where I'm going to veer off a little bit. I'll be honest, we may not get to the questions. When I sat down, I didn't even know if I was willing to go through with this. But here's my track record. I was one of 2 people I knew in 2016 who were not surprised that Trump won. I predicted him winning. I told people they thought I was crazy. Not because I wanted him to, but because if you really took an honest look at what was happening in this country, there was no way he wasn't going to win. And I had people write to me yesterday with what happened in DC. Hey, you called it. I didn't know exactly what was going to happen, but if you were paying attention to what was going on, there was no way you couldn't see that there was going to be some kind of violent outburst as we got close to the transition of power. I share these 2 things with you only because I'm hopeful that in doing so, you will give what I'm about to say a little bit of credence. We, as a nation, bear responsibility for what happens in our nation. And we as individuals are responsible for what happened yesterday. Let me explain this in martial arts principles. If you engage with someone in not in training, but a live, out in the world sort of engagement. Not even necessarily a physical one. But if you draw a line in the sand, if you push someone, let's take that example. If you physically push someone, if I push you, what is your response? What is our innate physiological response to that? To become defensive, to hold our position, to potentially push back, to assess the threat. The moment someone is pushed, they will push back. It is a hallmark of self-defense. It is very, very deeply rooted in the psychology of what we as martial artists do and discuss. I don't think there's much debate on that. If I push someone, their instinct is to push back. Maybe they cannot physically push back if I'm much larger than someone. Maybe they will decide that is a poor choice of action, but it's still the instinct. Yet we can make a joke about me being larger than people. It doesn't happen very often. But it's still true. If you look back over the last, I've been aware of it for maybe 15 or 20 years. If you look at the discussion and the style of discussion in the United States, personally, in the media, it's been all about segmenting people, drawing divides, creating separation. Which is the verbal way of pushing someone. You're either with us or against us. You're either for this issue or against this issue. We've completely removed the idea of gray in anything. But on some level, we all need gray. Can't reduce the world down to sound bites and A or B, one or the other. You're either a karate person or a taekwondo person or a kung fu person, right? You have to pick one. What if I'm a karate person who does some taekwondo? No, you can't do that. Okay. This style is better than that style. We've spent years on this show, on Martial Arts Radio, talking about how destructive that is, how damaging that attitude is. It doesn't help anyone. And when you look at the wider world, when you look at what we're doing in this country right now, that is exactly what we're doing socially. And in doing so, we're backing people into corners. We're forcing them to defend positions that maybe they didn't want to. But because they were pushed, their instinct is to distance themselves from the person who pushed. If someone attacks you, you don't want to side with them. And that's what we've been doing. Now, some of you watching or listening might be thinking, oh, Jeremy, I don't do that. I'll almost guarantee you do. I don't know who's watching right now. I don't have a list. But I will say that at least some of the regular viewers of this show, I watched them doing it last night. We are in this place because of the actions we have taken. generalizations, divisiveness, broad sweeping attacks on groups of people we do it because it makes us feel better. I'm not part of that problem. I didn't create that situation. But you did. We did. When you say things like, if you support this thing, this person, this idea, you're wrong, unfriend me, I don't want to hear from you again. You deny them what you have to offer. You remove compassion. Show me a situation where removing compassion makes it better. There is none, literally no situation on the planet where removing compassion makes it better. And that's what we've been doing at an ever increasing rate. If you take a look at my social media posts, you'll see that over the years I have made efforts personally to get people to see where this was headed. That divisiveness, that anger, that putting people into boxes does not serve anyone. And when I put up a warm, fuzzy quote or make a statement like this, I generally get support. But when I apply that same logic to a situation, I get laughed at, I get attacked. Last night I was called names, and depending on how I wanted to interpret the last one that I saw before I deleted what I had written on someone's feed, threats. Stacy says, holding on to the Taekwondo tenets of courtesy, integrity, perseverance, self-control, and indomitable spirit. I'm part of the problem and the solution. Yes. If you think the actions in Washington, D.C. yesterday were an isolated incident that can be attributed to a small group of people led by a single person, you are missing the point, and you are wrong, because this will continue. I am not willing to publicly state my predictions on what will happen, in part because I don't think most of you can handle them. I don't want to risk any more of whistlekick than I am right now in making this video. So here's where we go. Here's my suggestion. Stop generalizing. Stop drawing lines. Stop putting people into camps. Stop looking at it as a you versus others situation. It is literally the only path I see forward that reduces what's happening. Treat others with empathy. Recognize that when people take action that you disagree with, it's because they have a different understanding and a different experience than you do. When people take violent action, they are hurting. They are trying to externalize the pain that they are feeling. The more violent the action, the more pain they are. Wholesale writing off of people, lumping them into groups and saying that they're dumb or stupid or they don't get it, or whatever, because they see things differently as you. That's how we got here. I'm going to do my best to stop correcting people publicly about this because, yes, I believe I'm right in this. Because when I get to sit down and have an actual conversation with someone and not, a social media 2-sentence back and forth, they inevitably agree. Yes, we need to find ways to introduce compassion. Yes, we need to stop generalizing, and we need to stop taking the easy road of saying, I'm right and you're wrong. I'm done trying to influence that because it's not working. It's causing me stress. And I stood in my kitchen last night crying because I didn't know what else to do. Because I've literally seen this coming and I've literally tried to stop it as best I knew how by trying to share this idea with other people, and it failed. And this is the only group of people, you right here watching First Cup or listening to First Cup, that I feel comfortable sharing this with. I don't want you to take this video and share it with other people. They're not going to get it. They don't have the time in with me to know that this isn't just lip service. It's simply my hope that a few of you will hear me and understand me, and maybe one of you will have a conversation with someone else in person. And maybe in that way we can spread this. Maybe. I'm exhausted. And now I'm going to attempt to answer some questions or some quotes, because you didn't show up here this morning for this. And I thank you for your willingness to listen. I will not be answering questions or comments publicly about what I've said here. If I said something that I need to correct, I will do that. But where does this show go? It goes on YouTube. The last thing I want to do is have a YouTube discussion in the comments about any of this. Stacy says, love and respect to you. I showed up for you, not some media-made version of you, for you. Thank you. I appreciate you, Stacy. All right. Got some quotes from Frank. Good job, Frank. Might lose it on this one. When I do good, I feel good. When I do bad, I feel bad. That's my religion. Abraham Lincoln. My opponent is my teacher. My ego is my enemy. Renzo Gracie. People ask if I hate my opponents. I don't. I love them. They are the ones that actually make me bring the best I have. Renzo Gracie. I'm trying to respond to that. There's something there. I'm trying to take myself out of where I'm feeling right now because you all deserve that. Whether it's the statement "iron sharpens iron," or we look at competition. You know, there's the iterative process of improving martial arts requires manufactured conflict, not organic conflict, which would be, you know, of some fight on the street, but manufactured conflict, competition with a set of rules, training within your school, even just working with a friend saying, "Look, can we work through this? I've got some ideas." As human beings, we learn by making mistakes and understanding, okay, that didn't work. I'm not going to do that again. As a small child, you put your hand on the stove, you get burned. I'm not going to put my hand on the stove again. It hurt a lot. If you're sparring and here's a good one. Here's one that I see people do that they tend to stop doing pretty quickly. Sparring and keeping one leg up, ready to kick. Your balance is off. You're gonna fall down. You're gonna fall down a lot more. Yeah, your foot's a little closer to the head, but you can't punch. The person you're sparring knows what you're gonna do. You're gonna try to kick, and you're gonna lose your balance. There's an example of learning by making a mistake. And then the last one, and I have nothing I can add to this. That's not true. Peace is more precious than triumph. Chungwon Choue. I've talked about him before a little bit. Therapist? It's not quite the right term. Mentor is probably a better term. Is fond of asking me, "Good morning, Nathan. Do you want to be happy or do you want to be right?" So many of us are hell-bent on being right that we do so at our own expense and the expense of others around us. It's not worth it. That's all I got, guys. So I'm gonna go. I won't talk about this again. So if this wasn't your cup of tea or cup of coffee, don't worry. We'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully Frank's gonna have jokes, maybe even some extra jokes. And we will talk about happier things, more enlightening things. But I thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for listening or watching. And I hope I reached some of you. I hope you get it. Have a great day, everyone. Take care. Peace.